My sister said Christmas was canceled due to budget issues. We'll celebrate next year, she promised. That night, I saw photos of a huge family feast on social media. Everyone was there except me. When I called the next day, she acted like nothing happened. I, 31M, thought I'd seen my sister's true colors before, but nothing prepared me for Christmas Eve 2024. 3 weeks earlier, she called me with what sounded like genuine distress in her voice, explaining how this year had been financially devastating for her family. Her husband's business had taken a hit, unexpected medical bills had piled up, and they simply couldn't afford to host our traditional Christmas gathering. She asked if we could skip this year and promised we'd make it extra special next Christmas. I felt terrible for her. Without hesitation, I told her I understood completely and that family was more important than any celebration. I even offered to help with money, but she refused, saying they'd manage somehow. She seemed so grateful that I wasn't making a fuss about it. I spent the next few days calling our aunts, uncles, and cousins, explaining the situation and letting them know Christmas was postponed. Christmas Eve arrived gray and quiet. My apartment felt emptier than usual. I'd grown accustomed to the chaos of our family gatherings, the overlapping conversations, my nephew running around with new toys, the smell of my aunt's famous stuffing mixing with the scent of pine from the tree. Instead, I ordered takeout and settled in for a Netflix marathon, trying not to feel sorry for myself. Around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed with a notification from Instagram. My cousin had posted a story. I almost scrolled past it, but something made me tap on it. The blood drained from my face. There was my entire family, gathered around a massive dining table overflowing with food. The Christmas tree in the background was huge, covered in lights and expensive-looking ornaments. Everyone was there, my parents, my aunts and uncles, all my cousins, even the distant relatives who only showed up for major holidays. Everyone except me. My hands started shaking as I screenshotted the photo. I scrolled through more stories and posts. My uncle had shared a video of my nephew opening presents. My aunt posted a picture of the dessert table that looked like something out of a magazine. My mother was tagged in multiple photos, beaming next to what looked like the most elaborate Christmas dinner our family had ever had. The realization hit me like a physical blow. They hadn't canceled Christmas. They had canceled me. I spent the night pacing my apartment, alternating between rage and disbelief. By morning, I'd made dozens of screenshots and saved every piece of evidence. The betrayal was complete and documented in full color across social media. I waited until noon on Christmas Day to call my sister. When she answered, her voice was cheerful and relaxed, like someone who'd just enjoyed a perfect holiday surrounded by loved ones. I asked her how her quiet Christmas had been, keeping my voice carefully neutral. She launched into an elaborate story about how peaceful it was, just her immediate family, how they'd watched movies and had a simple dinner. She thanked me again for being so understanding about the budget situation. Her performance was flawless, each lie delivered with practiced ease. I asked if she'd talked to any other family members. She said no. Everyone was respecting their need for a low-key holiday this year. The audacity was breathtaking. She was lying to my face about something I'd literally watched unfold on social media. I told her I hoped next year would be better and ended the call. She had no idea I knew the truth, and I intended to keep it that way until I decided how to handle this betrayal. The next few days were a blur of planning. I called my cousin who'd posted the original story and casually asked about his Christmas. He seemed confused at first, then uncomfortable, clearly not knowing what my sister had told me. He eventually admitted the whole family had been there, and when I pressed, he revealed that my sister had specifically told everyone I was traveling and wouldn't be able to make it. I started reaching out to other family members under the pretense of New Year's well wishes. The story was consistent. My sister had told everyone I had other plans. Some seemed surprised I hadn't been there. Others acted like they assumed I'd chosen not to come. My own family had effortlessly erased me from their biggest celebration of the year based on my sister's lies. The worst part was discovering the depth of the deception. My sister hadn't just excluded me. She'd crafted an entirely different narrative. According to various family members, I was supposedly on a ski trip with friends, or visiting my ex-girlfriend's family, or working a special holiday shift for extra money. The stories varied, but the result was the same. My absence was explained away so smoothly that no one questioned it. I spent weeks documenting everything. Screenshots, recorded phone calls where family members mentioned details about the Christmas gathering, even receipts from the restaurant where I'd eaten alone on Christmas Eve. I built an ironclad case, not because I planned to take this to court, but because I wanted everyone to see exactly how calculated this betrayal had been. Update 1. By mid-January, I'd formulated my plan. My sister's birthday was coming up in February, and as always, she expected me to help organize the family celebration. She called me in late January with her usual list of demands, specific decorations, an expensive restaurant reservation, coordinated gifts from all the family members. I listened patiently and agreed to handle everything, just like I had for the past several years. I spent the next 2 weeks meticulously planning her birthday party. I made reservations at her favorite upscale restaurant, one that required a significant deposit. I coordinated with family members about gifts, suggesting everyone contribute to something expensive she'd mentioned wanting. I even ordered custom decorations and an elaborate cake from the bakery she loved. The day before her birthday, I called the restaurant and canceled the reservation, forfeiting the deposit. I contacted every family member and told them the party was postponed due to my sister having a family emergency. I was vague about the details, but convincing enough that no one questioned it. I canceled the cake and returned the decorations. On her birthday morning, my sister called me excitedly, asking about the final details for her party. I told her I had some bad news. Due to budget constraints and some unexpected expenses, I'd had to cancel her party. I promised we'd celebrate next month instead, when I could afford to do it properly. The irony of using her exact words from Christmas wasn't lost on me. She was devastated. She'd already told people about the party, had gotten her hair and nails done, bought a new dress. She begged me to reconsider, offering to pay for everything herself. I stood firm, expressing how sorry I was, but explaining that sometimes life gets in the way of celebrations. She'd understand, wouldn't she? That evening, I posted photos on social media from a nice dinner I treated myself to at another restaurant. I made sure to tag my location and timestamp everything clearly. I posted pictures of a beautiful cake I'd ordered just for myself, captioned with something about celebrating the small victories in life. I didn't invite anyone to join me. I didn't lie about where other people were or create elaborate stories. I simply celebrated without her, exactly as she had done to me. Update 2. My sister figured it out within days. The call started Tuesday morning, barely contained fury in her voice as she demanded to know why I'd sabotaged her birthday. I calmly asked what she meant, reminding her that I'd simply had to postpone due to budget issues, just like she'd had to do with Christmas. She accused me of being petty and vindictive. I asked if she was referring to my financial situation, because I thought she of all people would understand how disappointing it could be when someone you trusted couldn't follow through on celebration plans. The conversation ended with her hanging up on me. Within hours, I started getting calls from family members. Some were angry, having found out about both the canceled Christmas and the birthday party debacle. Others were confused, trying to piece together what had actually happened. My sister had apparently started calling everyone, trying to control the narrative again. That's when I decided it was time for complete transparency. I created a group chat with every family member and shared everything. Screenshots from Christmas Eve, recordings of conversations where my sister had lied about my whereabouts, evidence of the elaborate celebration I'd been excluded from. I laid out the timeline clearly. How she'd convinced me Christmas was canceled while simultaneously planning to exclude only me, how she'd lied to everyone about my absence, and how she'd continued lying even when directly confronted. Then I shared photos from her birthday, the restaurant confirmation I'd canceled, the cake order, the decorations I'd returned. I explained exactly what I'd done and why. I told them I'd used her own strategy against her, giving her a taste of what it felt like to be deliberately excluded while watching someone else celebrate. The response was immediate and split. Some family members were appalled by what my sister had done and supported my retaliation. Others thought I'd gone too far, that two wrongs didn't make a right. But everyone now knew the truth, and that was what mattered most. My sister tried calling me repeatedly over the next few days. I ignored every call. She sent long text messages, alternating between apologies and accusations, sometimes within the same paragraph. She claimed she'd only excluded me because she thought I'd judged their spending after complaining about budget issues. She said it was a moment of weakness, that she'd panicked and made a terrible decision. But I'd heard her lie so smoothly for too long to believe any of it now. Update 3. The fallout continued for weeks. My parents tried to mediate, suggesting we both apologize and move forward as a family. They couldn't understand why I wouldn't accept my sister's apology and put this behind us. When I explained that she'd only apologized after being caught, and that she'd shown no remorse while actively lying to my face for weeks, they accused me of being unforgiving. My sister enlisted our mother to guilt-trip me, sharing how hurt and embarrassed she was that the whole family knew about her deception. I almost laughed at the irony. She was embarrassed that people knew she'd excluded me, but she hadn't been embarrassed while actually doing it. Some family members stopped taking sides and just wanted the drama to end. They suggested we all move on and plan Easter together like nothing had happened. But something had happened, and pretending otherwise felt like another form of gaslighting. In March, my sister made one final attempt at reconciliation. She called and offered to pay for a belated birthday celebration for me, as if money could fix what she'd broken. She wanted to host a family dinner where she'd publicly apologize and we could start fresh. I declined, not because I wanted to punish her forever, but because I finally understood something important about our relationship. She hadn't excluded me from Christmas because of budget issues or fear of judgment. She'd excluded me because she could, because she'd always been able to manipulate situations and people to get what she wanted, and I'd been an easy target. The birthday retaliation wasn't really about revenge, though it had felt satisfying in the moment. It was about showing her what it felt like to be on the receiving end of deliberate exclusion and deception. It was about refusing to be an easy target anymore. I told her I needed time and space to process everything that had happened. I wasn't ready to pretend our relationship could go back to normal when she'd shown me exactly how little my presence meant to her when it was inconvenient. Months later, we maintain a polite but distant relationship. We see each other at family gatherings I choose to attend, but the easy closeness we once had is gone. Some family members think I'm holding a grudge. Others understand that trust, once broken so completely, doesn't just magically repair itself. My sister learned that actions have consequences, even delayed ones. I learned that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones most willing to hurt you, simply because they assume you'll always forgive them. Christmas has never felt the same since, but I've never again spent a holiday wondering if I'm truly wanted or just tolerated. Sometimes the most valuable gift you can give yourself is the clarity that comes from seeing people's true character, even when it's painful. The revenge was sweet for a moment, but the self-respect has lasted much longer.